In 1978, my husband, who had been admitted to college, stole the food rations meant for me and our daughter, and took his first love to college with him. After our family ran out of food, I went up the mountain to dig for wild vegetables, but our daughter was thrown into a boiling cauldron by the village madman. After our daughter died a tragic death, I picked up a kitchen knife and took the madman down with me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my husband stole our family's food rations. Hongmei, where are our food rations? Where did you hide them? In a daze, my husband Chu Yennan's voice suddenly rang in my ears. I snapped my eyes open and smelled the aroma of stewed meat still lingering in the house. Thinking of how, in my past life, I had come home from gathering wild vegetables to see our daughter's small, mutilated body floating in the kitchen cauldron. I couldn't hold it in any longer and vomited with a loud retch. The undigested wild vegetables, mixed with sticky stomach acid, splattered onto Chu Yennan's pant leg. I looked up slightly and clearly saw the disgust in Chu Yennan's eyes. But he had forgotten, who was I doing this for, that I was eating wild vegetables until I was nauseous and vomiting. I was an orphan who grew up eating meals from every household in the village. Chu Yannan and his little first love, Yan Feifei, were both educated youth sent down to the countryside. In my past life, I craved a family so desperately, and on top of that, Chu Yannan was gentle and considerate toward me. I naively believed that was love. So, without a second thought, I threw myself headfirst into Chu Yennan's sweet trap. It wasn't until later, when Chu Yannan took off with all the family's savings and food rations, abandoning me and our daughter to take Yan Feifei to college without a backward glance, that I realized all those years of marital affection had been an elaborate lie carefully crafted by Chu Yannan. He said his health was poor, so I did the work of two people, letting him stay home and study in peace. But what about me? Pregnant with a big belly, about to give birth, I was still out in the fields picking cotton and earning work points. He also said that Yan Feifei's parents had shown him kindness, and that he had always treated her like a real sister since childhood. So I let Chu Yannan, time and again, take the family's food rations, eggs, pork, old hens. All into Yan Feifei's stomach. The two of them ate and drank at my expense, growing plump and healthy. I was pregnant with a child, yet I was starving, skin and bones. I had thought that as long as Chu Yannan got into college, my daughter and I would finally have a good life. To save up enough travel money and food coupons for Chu Yannan's college journey, I couldn't bear to eat a single grain of rice or a piece of flatbread these past 2 years. Every time, I waited until Chu Yannan and Yan Feifei had eaten their fill, then poured a little water into the pot, and with just a hint of the flavor of grain, boiled wild vegetables into a paste to eat as a meal. That was how I scraped together 120 yuan from the gaps between my teeth. I also used the family's fine grain to exchange for 30 jin of national food coupons for Chu Yannan. Thinking of how young my daughter was, I specially set aside 20 jin of food rations, 3 jin of meat coupons, and 2 jin of sugar coupons for her. But I never expected that, in order to let his beloved little first love go to college with him, Chu Yannan would even abandon his own daughter's life and death. In my past life, I had no guard against my own husband. When Chu Yannan asked where our family's grain rations were stored, I told him without a second thought. But when I came back from digging wild vegetables with my daughter on my back, what I saw was the rice jar turned upside down in complete disarray. On the table was also a letter left by Chu Yannan. He said that Yan Feifei had also been admitted to university. But the Yan family couldn't come up with the money and food coupons to support Yan Feifei's education. To repay her kindness, he decided to take the last bit of grain from home, along with the meat and sugar coupons, to fund Yan Feifei's university studies. At the end of the letter, Chu Yannan swore and vowed that once he graduated from university and got a job assignment, he would definitely come back to take me and our daughter to the city to enjoy a good life. But in my previous life, my daughter and I waited until death, and never saw Chu Yan-nan come back for us. After I died, my soul lingered restlessly in the old house. It wasn't until 20 years later, when Chu Yan-nan and Yan Feifei returned to their hometown in glory, that I learned the truth: they were the real couple all along. Back then, Chu Yan-nan and Yan Feifei, who had just been sent to the countryside as educated youths, didn't want to participate in labor, so they set their sights on me, an orphan with no parents. Yan Feifei persuaded Chu Yan-nan to marry me, and after the marriage, she moved into our house under the guise of being his neighbor's little sister. From then on, I became their free servant. I washed their clothes, cooked their meals, managed the household, and also had to work in the fields to earn work points to support the both of them. While I was sweating profusely in the fields, Chu Yan-nan and Yan Feifei were eating the grain I earned and secretly getting together behind my back. Later, both Chu Yan-nan and Yan Feifei were admitted to university, and after graduation, they immediately got their marriage certificate. It was only then that I realized Chu Yan-nan and I had never gotten a marriage certificate. We weren't even legally husband and wife. After graduating, both of them were assigned to good positions, and later they even went into business, making a fortune. 20 years later, Chu Yan-nan brought Yan Feifei back to their hometown. When they heard that my daughter and I had died long ago, they only shed a few crocodile tears. Chu Yan-nan wore a luxury watch worth millions. Yan Feifei carried a designer handbag worth hundreds of thousands. Yet the two of them couldn't even bear to buy us the cheapest urn for our ashes. My thoughts returned as I heard Chu Yan-nan repeat his question about where the household's rations were stored. Suppressing the overwhelming hatred within me, I fixed my resentful gaze on him and asked, word by word, "Why are you asking about the rations? Most of our family's rations were already exchanged for grain coupons and taken with you. The little that's left is what I saved for Nyo-Nyo." At the mention of our daughter's name, a flicker of guilt flashed in Chu Yan-nan's eyes. But soon, his expression hardened again as he feigned concern. "I just wanted to check if there's enough for you and Nyo-Nyo to last until the summer harvest." I let out a bitter laugh and lowered my eyes. "So, you do know that without these rations, Nyo-Nyo and I won't survive until the summer harvest? Yet in my past life, for the sake of your first love, you still took away our life-saving rations without hesitation." I raised my head and looked at Chu Yan-nan, asking softly, "That little bit of rations really isn't enough for Nyo-Nyo and me? How about leaving me another 10 pounds of grain coupons?" "That's impossible. I've checked, the school's subsidy coupons are barely enough for half a month. The 30 pounds you gave me will only last me 2 months. If I leave you 10, I'll starve next month." Perhaps realizing how heartless his words sounded, Chu Yan-nan softened his tone with a forced smile. "Hongmei, it's not that I don't care about you and Nyo-Nyo. Think about it, no matter how tough things are at home, once spring comes, wild vegetables will be everywhere in the mountains. Worst case, you can borrow some rations from the village. You won't starve to death. But at university, I have to eat in the canteen every day. There's no wild vegetables to forage in the city. You wouldn't want to watch your husband starve, would you?" I nodded. "Fine, keep your coupons. But don't even think about taking the rations at home. Nyo-Nyo is frail. The village barefoot doctor said she needs at least 2 bowls of rice soup every day." Seeing that I wouldn't budge, Chu Yan-nan left in frustration. I immediately stood up and quietly followed him. Sure enough, in the small grove at the back of the mountain, Yan Feifei was seen waiting anxiously. The moment they met, their hands clasped tightly together. Yan Feifei asked coyly, "Brother Yan-nan, where are the food coupons?" Chu Yan-nan's expression darkened as he replied, "I haven't gotten them yet." Hongmei hid all the remaining rations at home and won't tell me where. Yan Feifei grew frantic. Then what should I do? Without money or food coupons, how can I go to university? Chu Yannan quickly pulled her into his arms, soothing her softly, don't worry. At worst, we won't buy the shirt and leather shoes. I'll give you 80 yuan out of the 120 yuan Jiang Hongmei gave us, that should be enough for your studies. Tears welled up in Yan Feifei's beautiful big eyes as she shook her head vehemently. No. I've seen those university students, they all wear white shirts and leather shoes. If I go to school in cloth clothes and shoes, I'll definitely be laughed at. Brother Yannan, you promised me, that 120 yuan was for us to buy shirts and shoes. You said you'd get Jiang Hongmei to scrape together the travel expenses later. You can't go back on your word. As she spoke, she raised her small fists and lightly pounded Chu Yannan's chest a few times, her delicate body writhing restlessly in his embrace. Chu Yannan sucked in a sharp breath, gripping her slender waist before pressing his lips fiercely against her cherry-like mouth. You little temptress. Are you trying to be the death of me? Soon, the quiet grove was filled with sounds too indecent for the ears. I hid behind an old elm tree, covering my mouth tightly, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. That evening, when Chu Yannan came home, there was a faint, nauseating smell lingering on him. I kept my head down and said nothing, silently taking out a bowl of rice porridge and a bowl of wild vegetable paste from the pot. Chu Yannan sat for a while, and when he noticed I hadn't served him any food, he couldn't help but ask, Hongmei, where's my meal? Oh, you didn't say you'd be back for dinner. I was afraid of wasting it, so I didn't make yours. On this very day in my previous life, Chu Yannan had already taken all the remaining food rations and money coupons from the house. He ran off far away with his first love. Before leaving, the two of them even ordered a large portion of braised pork and white rice at the county's state-run restaurant, eating until their mouths were greasy. But what about me back then? Because all the food rations and money coupons at home had been taken by Chu Yannan, I had to carry Nyonyo on my back and go door to door to borrow food. But in those days, no family in the village was well off. In the end, only the village chief, seeing how pitiful we mother and daughter were, secretly slipped me a coarse grain bun. I divided the bun into 4 small pieces, and each time I broke it up and soaked it in boiling water to make a paste for Nyonyo. As for myself, I ate wild vegetables for 2 consecutive days, without even salt, and I was so hungry that I was dizzy and seeing stars. When he heard that I hadn't made his meal, Chu Yannan angrily jumped up, slammed the door, and went into the bedroom. A sound of rummaging through boxes and cabinets came from inside. I knew he still hadn't given up. He wanted to buy a shirt and leather shoes for Yan Feifei, and just like in my previous life, he wanted to steal the food rations that kept me and my daughter alive. But this time, Chu Yannan, I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. After returning from the grove, I had already packed all the remaining rations and money coupons at home into a clean pickling jar and buried it under the firewood pile in the backyard. Chu Yannan never did any housework at home, he found the firewood pile in the backyard too dirty. In 5 years of marriage, he had never once gone there. When he couldn't find the rations or money coupons in the bedroom, I thought Chu Yannan would give up. But the very next day, he rushed to me with a lie ready on his lips, Hongmei, it's terrible. The money and food coupons you gave me for university were stolen. What? Then we must report it to the police immediately. I pretended to panic and stood up. No. Chu Yannan refused without hesitation. I stared straight into his eyes and asked, why can't we report it? If we don't, how will you eat or drink at school without that money and those coupons? Chu Yannan guiltily averted his gaze and muttered, well. Doesn't our family still have some rations and money coupons left? You and Nyonyo live in the village, you don't need much money anyway. Hongmei, why don't you just give me the rations and coupons at home first? After all, the new harvest will come in 2 months. His words were like a sharp cleaver, slicing down and leaving me drenched in blood. I could no longer contain the fury raging inside me and shouted at him, what about me and Nyonyo? How are we supposed to survive? You know it'll be 2 months before the new harvest comes, what are we supposed to do until then? You'll have subsidies and food coupons at school, but what about us? We'll have nothing. You want us to go without a single penny or grain of rice, how are we supposed to last until then? Chu Yannan staggered back under my outburst, mumbling, can't you just forage for wild vegetables in the mountains? Or borrow some from the villagers first and pay them back after the harvest. Asterisk slap. Asterisk I lunged forward and struck him hard across the face. Chu Yannan, you bastard. You know damn well I've already borrowed from every household in the village to scrape together your tuition. And now you casually say the money's gone and expect me to borrow again. If it's so easy, why don't you go borrow it yourself? I don't have the ability to beg for more loans. Either report it to the police and get the money and coupons back, or forget about going to university. Chu Yannan's face burned red with shame. Just then, Yan Feifei bounced in, wearing a brand new white blouse and a pair of shiny leather shoes. Brother Yannan, how do I look? She twirled in front of him like a butterfly. For a moment, Chu Yannan's eyes lit up with admiration, until he caught sight of the glint on Yan Feifei's wrist. His expression instantly froze. Feifei, when did you buy that watch? Yan Feifei touched the Plum Blossom brand lady's watch on her wrist, shot me a proud glance, and said coquettishly, Brother Yannan, didn't you say that as long as I got into college, you'd reward me with a watch? I know you're short on cash, so I wanted to save you some money. I didn't even go to the department store to buy a new one. I bought this second-hand one from an educated youth in the neighboring village, and it only cost me 40 yuan. As soon as she finished speaking, Chu Yannan let out a startled cry, what? 40 yuan. That white blouse you're wearing, and those leather shoes, how much did they cost altogether? Yan Feifei pouted at his shout and said with a pitiful look, the 120 yuan you gave me, there's still 1 yuan and 50 cents left. Chu Yannan's vision went dark, and his thin, scholarly frame swayed. He looked at the innocent and charming Yan Feifei, but in the end, he couldn't bear to scold his beloved first love. He could only turn his gaze back to me, his hard-working and enduring wife. Hongmei, I'm sorry, I lied to you. The 120 yuan you gave me wasn't stolen. I lent it to Feifei. But you have to understand me. Feifei is a girl after all, and she has her pride. I don't want to see her being laughed at school because she doesn't dress well, so you gave all the travel money and living expenses that I borrowed from the whole village to help you scrape together, to Yan Feifei? Let her spend it on a watch, a blouse, and leather shoes. Chu Yannan had nothing to say, and could only nod with difficulty. Now the money is all spent, and the things can't be returned. Hongmei, can you think of another way for me? Yan Feifei also reddened her eyes, deliberately took off the newly bought watch from her wrist, and timidly held it out to me. Sister Hongmei, I know you're upset that Brother Yannan gave me the money. Then I'll give everything back to you, and I beg you, please help Brother Yannan scrape together some more money so he can go to college, okay? Chu Yannan saw her pale face, tears falling like pearls, and his heart ached with pain. What nonsense are you talking about? Your sister Hongmei is just a rural woman. She doesn't need to go to college, so she has no use for these things. You call me brother, and I promise to buy you these things, so just keep them without worry. As for the travel expenses, your sister Hongmei and I will think of another way. Hearing Chu Yannan's gentle comfort, Yan Feifei blushed and looked at him with affectionate eyes. Brother Yannan, I knew you were the best to me. After saying that, both of them looked at me with expectant expressions. I nodded. Your brother Yannan is right. He'll figure out his own travel expenses. With that, I dashed forward and snatched Yan Feifei's watch. Yan Feifei let out a shriek. Jiang Hongmei, how dare you snatch my watch? I sneered. Not just the watch, Yan Feifei. I'm giving you 3 days to return every single cent you spent on that shirt and those leather shoes. If you're even 1 cent short, I'll write to your school and ask your university teachers whether it counts as moral corruption for a female student to seduce a married man and make him spend so much money on her. No. Don't write that letter. Brother Yan. You need to stop her. Yan Feifei's face turned pale as she looked at Chu Yannan with pitiful eyes. Chu Yannan wrapped his arm around Yan Feifei and looked at me with a reproachful expression. Hongmei, I've told you before, I only see Feifei as a sister. How can you say such things about her? Apologize to Feifei and let's just drop this matter. We're all family, why would you write a complaint letter? I looked at the two of them in their intimate pose and laughed so hard tears almost came out. A sister. What kind of sister sneaks into the woods with her brother? What kind of sister kisses her brother? Chu Yannan, I saw everything you and Yan Feifei did in those woods. In an instant, both Chu Yannan and Yan Feifei's faces turned deathly pale. Yan Feifei trembled in fear. Yannan, what do we do? Jiang Hongmei saw everything. She won't actually write that complaint letter to our school, will she? You have to stop her. She can't write that letter. If she does, we're finished. Chu Yannan was flustered for a moment, then raised his hand to pat his first love reassuringly, and said to me with an arrogant expression, Hongmei, I know you're jealous that Feifei gets to go to university with me. How about this, as long as you swear not to write that complaint letter, and give me and Feifei 100 yuan and 40 jin of food stamps for travel expenses, then once I graduate and get assigned a job, I'll bring you and Nyonyo to the city to enjoy a good life. Enjoy a good life. In my past life, he and Yan Feifei lived together at university, enjoying themselves by feeding off my blood and flesh. Meanwhile, my Nyonyo had already died tragically in that big pot she was cooking with at home. When she was pulled out, she was already boiled beyond recognition. In this life, I will make sure this pair of dogs die a horrible death. Seeing me with my head lowered and silent, Chu Yannan assumed he had once again gotten the upper hand over me, and said smugly to Yan Feifei, Don't worry, your sister Hongmei listens to me the most. With me here, she wouldn't dare write any complaint letter. Yan Feifei gave me a contemptuous glance, then coquettishly said to Chu Yannan, Brother Yannan, my feet are hurting so much from these leather shoes. Cloth shoes are much more comfortable. Why don't you have sister Hongmei make me 2 more pairs of cloth shoes? I'll take them to school and use them as slippers in the dorm. Chu Yannan affectionately tapped her cute, fair nose, then turned to me and said, I remember you just bought a piece of cotton cloth for Nyonyo. Nyonyo is still young, no need to make her new clothes every year. Take out that cloth first and make 2 pairs of cloth shoes for Feifei. Remember, the shoe uppers must be elegant and simple. Feifei isn't a country girl like you who likes loud, flashy colors, that's tacky. Yan Feifei looked up at him with admiration, Brother Yan, you're so good to me. Chu Yannan hugged her tenderly, we've grown up together since we were kids. If I'm not good to you, who would I be good to? Be good, the train leaves in a few days, so you should rest up. Go inside and get some rest. If there's any work, just call your sister Hongmei. With that, he turned and instructed me, steam 2 bowls of rice for me and Feifei tonight, and also 2 bowls of egg custard. Feifei is about to start school, and it'll be hard for her to taste hometown dishes after this. I remember we still have a piece of cured meat at home, right? Make that for Feifei too. After saying this, the two of them, just like before, went into the house as if no one else was there, closed the door, and who knows what they were doing inside. In my previous life, I noticed that Chu Yannan and his first love Yan Feifei were overly intimate in their behavior, and I had reminded him about it several times. But every time, Chu Yannan told me that he and Yan Feifei had grown up together since childhood and he always regarded her as a biological sister. Besides, if Feifei and I were really meant to be something, it would have happened long ago. Why would I have married you? At the time, after hearing Chu Yannan's words, although I still felt uneasy inside, I thought that since we were already married and even had a child, even if Chu Yannan had truly liked Yan Feifei before, the two of them could never be together. In this life, looking back on the events of my previous one, I finally understood. It turned out that Chu Yannan had been using me from the very beginning. He married me, moved into my home with Yan Feifei, and made me work in the fields, earning work points to support them. They could hide in the house, focus on their studies, and prepare for the college entrance exam. He knew full well that last year's drought had left every household in the village short of food, yet he deliberately took away the last bit of grain from our home. Wasn't it because he and Yan Feifei had already been admitted to college and no longer needed my support? So he wanted to take the family's grain and let me and Nyonyo starve to death. Thinking of the tragic deaths of me and Nyonyo in my previous life, I dug my nails into my palm, standing outside the window until I heard the sound of intimate kissing coming from inside. Without hesitation, I turned around, held Nyonyo in my arms, and headed straight for the village chief's house. Village chief, I want to report Chu Yannan and Yan Feifei. They've been carrying on an affair in my own home. I stormed into the house with a group of villagers, kicked open the door, and there was Yan Feifei, disheveled, lying in Chu Yannan's arms. The quilt covering them was the very one I had hand-sewn for our wedding. I handed Nyonyo to the neighbor aunt, grabbed a broom from the corner, and charged forward, swinging it wildly at them. Chu Yannan, you shameless bastard. You told me you treated her like a sister. Is this how you take care of your sister? Taking her straight to bed? Yan Feifei sobbed and shrieked, Yannan and I aren't blood related. Why can't we be together? I slapped her hard across her fair little face. Because you've been eating my food and living under my roof. For 3 years since you came to the countryside, I treated you like my own sister, and this is how you repay me. By sleeping with my husband. Yan Feifei shot back defiantly, I haven't been eating your food or living off you. Once you married Yannan, this house and everything in it became his. It's Yannan who's been supporting me, it has nothing to do with you. Furious, I snatched the white blouse draped over the bed and bent down to pick up the new leather shoes on the floor. Yan Feifei screamed in outrage, put those down. That's my new blouse and shoes. Yannan gave me the money for them. I sneered. Did your precious Yannan tell you where that money came from? It was mine. You said Yannan would take care of you, didn't you? Fine. From now on, let him do just that. I turned and stared coldly at Chu Yannan, who hadn't said a word. Either we divorce, or I write to your and Yan Feifei's schools right now and report your affair. Yan Feifei paled and glared at me. You wouldn't dare. If you send those letters, I'll make sure Yannan divorces you. I scoffed. I'd welcome it. Chu Yennan's face was ashen as he pleaded with me. Hongmei, Fei and I, it's not what you think. We. Watching him struggle to come up with an excuse, I laughed. Chu Yannan, the evidence is right in front of us. All these people saw you and Yan Fei in bed together. Do you really think I'd believe you're innocent? I know why you don't want a divorce. You don't want to lose your free labor. You want me to work the fields, earn work points, and pay for you and Yan Fei to go to college. You want me to wash your clothes, cook your meals, sew your quilts, and wait on you hand and foot. And once you graduate, get jobs, and start earning salaries, I'll be useless to you. You'll toss me aside, or worse, leave me and Nyonyo to rot in the countryside without a cent. Admit it, Chu Yannan. You married me to use me. You're broke and struggling now, and you couldn't bear to let your precious first love suffer with you. So you made me take her place and endure the hardship for her. And once you've made it big and can give Yan Fei a better life, I'm supposed to step aside, right? If you love Yan Fei so much and can't stand to see her suffer, then have the guts to earn work points yourself and support her. Why drag me into this? Chu Yannan, if you have even a shred of decency left, you'll divorce me today. I won't stand in the way of you and your first love's moonlit romance. But if you dare try to manipulate or use me again, I have nothing left to lose. The barefoot aren't afraid of those who wear shoes. If you ruin my life, we'll all go down together. With that, I rushed into the kitchen, grabbed a kitchen knife, and pressed its sharp blade directly against Yan Fei's neck. Yan Fei was so terrified that her limbs went weak, and she screamed hysterically. Chu Yannan also turned pale with fear, his lips trembling. In the end, with no other choice, he could only nod in agreement. The ridiculous part was that Chu Yannan and I had never even registered our marriage, we had just held a few banquet tables in the village. Even so, I still invited the village chief and several elders to formally dissolve our marital relationship in front of the entire village. In this lifetime, without me, the dutiful and exploited fool, I wanted to see if they could still graduate smoothly and achieve success as they did in their previous lives. After ending the marriage, I immediately demanded that Chu Yannan return all the money and food coupons I had given him for university. Afraid that I might actually write a complaint letter to the school, Chu Yannan reluctantly handed over the remaining 43 yuan and 25 kilograms of national food coupons, his face dark with resentment. Hongmei, after all, we were once husband and wife. Can you really bear to see me without even the travel expenses to get to university? I chuckled coldly. If you love freeloading so much, go find your little first love. Let her work in the fields to earn work points and support you through university. Chu Yannan looked embarrassed, realizing I had seen through his true nature and would no longer bend over backward to provide for him, whether it was food rations or money, whenever he asked. Carrying 2 empty yellow satchels, Chu Yannan and Yan Fei were practically left with nothing and had to return to the educated youth dormitory. Only then did he realize that over the years, everything, from the bedding he slept on, the shoes he wore, the wash basin he used, even his toothpaste and toothbrush, had been provided by me. Now that we were divorced, since these items were bought with money, I certainly wasn't going to let him keep them for free. When the other educated youths heard that Chu Yannan and Yan Fei had been kicked out for their affair, they looked at the pair with disdain. They refused to let them use the dormitory's pots and pans to cook or pick any of the vegetables grown there. At night, they had no bedding, not even a pillow to sleep on. Yan Fei, accustomed to the comfortable life I had provided for her, couldn't handle such hardship and cried, begging Chu Yannan to find a solution. But what could he do? His family had many siblings, and their own food rations were barely enough. How could they spare any to help him? The two tried working in the fields, but they hadn't done manual labor in so long that they could barely last half a day. The work points they earned weren't even enough to trade for 2 coarse grain buns. As the university registration deadline approached, they hadn't saved enough for train tickets or travel expenses, let alone even a single kilogram of food coupons. Yan Feifei did nothing but cry all day. With no other options, Chu Yannan had no choice but to come to me again. Hongmei, see, could you lend me 100 yuan? No. If not 100, then 50. Not 50 either. Then how much do you have? If it's you asking, not a single cent. Chu Yannan grew desperate and grabbed my arm. Jiang Hongmei, no matter what, I'm still Nyonyo's biological father. If you lend me the travel money now, once I get to university and graduate, I'll secure a government job. Won't Nyonyo have someone to rely on then? I turned and looked at him strangely. If you don't have the money, then don't go to school. Besides, hasn't the commune informed you and Yan Feifei yet? Your school called for a political review. When they heard about your affair and fraudulent marriage, they'll probably revoke your admission letters, right? What? Chu Yannan's vision went black. I ignored him, took Nyonyo's hand, and walked inside, locking the door behind me. The next time I heard news of Chu Yannan was several days later. During those days, I took Nyonyo to the town. After the educated youths in the village gradually returned to the city, I heard that the village-run primary school was also going to be closed. Just in time, I sold Yan Feifei's watch, leather shoes, and shirt, and together with the money Chu Yannan had returned to me, I planned to use that money to rent a house in town and start a tofu workshop. In my previous life, to save money for Chu Yannan's college education, I had gone from street to street selling tofu. Though making tofu was hard work, the capital was small and the profits were steady. Most importantly, the town not only had a primary school but also a middle school, so moving to town would make it much more convenient for Nyonyo to attend school in the future. After a few busy days, I finally got all the equipment for making tofu ready. I brought Nyonyo back to the village, intending to take everything usable from home to town. Unexpectedly, as soon as I returned to the village, I witnessed a big drama. Chu Yannan had caught Yan Feifei in bed with another man. The lover was the production team's scorekeeper. I heard that Yan Feifei had seduced the scorekeeper herself, just to get him to record more work points for her each day. Because of their moral issues, Chu Yannan and Yan Feifei were both disqualified from the political review for the college entrance exam, and the news quickly spread throughout the entire commune. Now, not only could they no longer take the college entrance exam, but their procedures for returning to the city were also stalled. Unable to return to the city or attend college, in this life, Chu Yannan and Yan Feifei, forced to stay in the village, quickly turned against each other, no longer as loving as they were in the previous life. Yan Feifei resented Chu Yannan, cursing him for being incompetent, for promising to support her through college but not keeping his word. Chu Yannan no longer spoiled her, cursing her as a jinx, saying she not only ruined his good family but also caused him to fail the political review for college. In this life, the two resented each other and never got married. Before long, Yan Feifei, who had been used to a good life, could no longer bear such a hard life. She used the excuse of miscalculated work points to find the scorekeeper and seduced him. But the scorekeeper also had a wife, who was famously a fierce woman in the village. When she heard that Yan Feifei had slept with her husband, the fierce woman stormed into the educated youth point. Grabbing Yan Feifei's long hair, she dragged her off the kong, sat on her, and slapped her more than 20 times in a row. Yan Feifei cried and begged Chu Yannan to save her. But Chu Yannan just gave her a cold look, turned around, and walked out, leaving her alone with the fierce woman and her brothers. In the end, Yan Feifei had 4 teeth knocked out by the fierce woman, and her pretty face was slashed with a sickle, leaving a hideous scar, completely disfiguring her. She was also flexible, thinking she had hooked up with the scorekeeper, hoping he would divorce his fierce wife and marry her. Now that she realized the scorekeeper was just playing with her and had no intention of taking responsibility, Yan Feifei came back crying, admitting her mistakes, and begging Chu Yannan to give her another chance for the sake of their first love. This time, she would definitely marry Chu Yannan and live a good life with him. Unfortunately, without material support, first love turned into a rotten fruit, and the childhood sweetheart became a thorny branch. Chu Yannan knew he wasn't good at physical work and had no skills to earn money, and even the path to college was completely blocked because of the failed political review. Unable to return to the city and unable to survive in the village, Chu Yannan thought it over and finally took the same path as in his previous life, living off a woman. He decided to marry the production team leader's daughter. Although she was a bit older, had eloped with someone before, and had damaged her health so she could never have children again, Chu Yannan didn't care. He just wanted to find a woman to support him now. As long as she could fill his stomach and let him do less work, what did it matter who he married? Unfortunately, Yan Feifei wasn't me, and she wasn't so easy to get rid of. When she heard that Chu Yannan wanted to abandon her and marry another woman, she somehow got hold of a butcher knife, blended into the crowd at the wedding, and stabbed Chu Yannan and his new wife more than a dozen times. The production team leader's daughter was hit in a major artery and died before she could even be taken to the hospital. Chu Yannan had the tendons in both wrists severed, and worst of all, his manhood was cut off at the root, leaving him completely impotent. It was said that Yan Feifei was sentenced to death for murder. The production team leader, enraged by his daughter's death, took it out on Chu Yannan, the root cause of it all. With both hand tendons severed, Chu Yannan couldn't use his strength at all, and the production team leader assigned him the hardest and most exhausting work every day. In just half a year, the once refined and handsome college student from his past life was worn down to look like a man in his 50s. The last time I saw Chu Yannan was at the commune market. By then, my tofu workshop had already gained some fame in town. Because the tofu was delicious and cheap, everyone in town liked to come to my shop to buy it. I also hired someone to run a breakfast shop, selling tofu pudding and tofu buns, and the business was even more booming than the tofu shop. Every market day, people from all around would come to my shop to buy a few spicy tofu buns. That day, the breakfast shop was too busy, so I brought Nyonyo to help out. But in the queue, I caught a glimpse of Chu Yannan. In my previous life, Chu Yannan had looked down on the cloth shoes with 1,000-layer soles I made for him, calling them too rustic, and traded the food that was my daughter's and my lifeline for a pair of leather shoes. In this life, Chu Yannan had fallen so low that he couldn't even afford a pair of cloth shoes. He was barefoot, wearing patched clothes he'd picked up from who knows where, with one trouser leg longer than the other, and clutching 2 dirty wonjiao notes in his hand as he walked up to me. "Boss, give me 2 tofu buns." I looked up. And the moment our eyes met, Chu Yannan opened his mouth in surprise. Someone behind him was shoving him hard. "Are you buying or not? You stinking beggar, if you're not buying, get lost." I took the 2 wonjiao notes and wrapped 2 tofu buns in a piece of cut newspaper for him. Chu Yannan held the buns and was pushed out of the line by the crowd. That day, I heard that Chu Yannan stood outside the bun shop for a long time. He stood there until the market broke up, when I left with Nyonyo on my newly bought bicycle. Only then did he squat down on the ground and eat the tofu buns, which had long gone cold, in big mouthfuls. The next day, I heard that Chu Yannan had jumped into a big river next to the commune. He jumped in the middle of the night, and no one knew where his body had been washed away by the river. The town lost a beggar, and it seemed to have no effect on anyone's life. At the dinner table, Ñoño was tired of eating rice and looked up at me, acting cute. Mom, I want to eat the braised noodles with beans you make. Okay, Mom will make you braised noodles with beans tonight. In this life, my Ñoño will never go hungry again. How wonderful.